I move that we approve the,
I have a statement. The last retreat, special meetings, and the attorney did send out a letter in relationship to that. And of course, one of the things I noted in the letter that he sent, he said that assuming 5/2/14/18 had been changed. So I did speak, and I did, in the research, we had originally decided that we would have a retreat. The Board of Supervisors in Virginia can change a retreat meeting to a special meeting by the following steps. Call the meeting, the chairman, the request must be made to the clerk. The clerk will notify each member of the governing body and the attorney of the Commonwealth or the county attorney. The notice must specify the matters to be considered at the meeting. The notice may be waived if all members of the governing body attend the meeting. It is important to assure that all members are aware of the changes that the meeting is calling and held for Virginia Code of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Now, I did not see the retreat. On June the 3rd, I received that we was having a retreat. I did not receive anything else. And I think in the attorney letter that he sent out, he said he assumed that it was posted. I don't know. I would love to have a copy of when the retreat was posted. I would love to see a copy of that. And also, on July the 3rd, I received that the meeting would be a special meeting, closed section, discussing personnel matter. Now, as far as the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, it states that each board member should be notified. On July the 3rd, I received that there would be a special meeting, but I received, no one called me up as a board member to ask me about a change. So I do need to see when the retreat was put there. And also, the FOIA have not changed. In the letter, it said that last evening you stated there must be at least 3 days prior to a special meeting. The FOIA law have not changed in Virginia. I've definitely checked that out. So if you're going to change from a retreat to a special meeting, then you have to follow the FOIA procedure, which states you have to have 3 work days, and each board member have to be notified. I received it on July the 3rd, so by me receiving it on July the 3rd, the 4th of July was a holiday, Saturday and Sunday, so there's no way you can get 3 work days out of that. The only work day could have been Monday, which meant that in order for this to take place, you cannot leave a board member out. So what I like to do tonight is I would love to see the notice, because my understanding that the notice this is coming from the attorney. My understanding of the note of special meeting was posted. That was his understanding. I have not seen it. I would love to see it. And also, when it changed from the retreat to a special meeting, if we have copies of that, I would like to be provided with those copies. And I think this is important because we discussed it. But somehow, when I went through the approval of the consent agenda, I didn't see anything that we discussed last meeting in this at all. And we're going to approve the minutes, and none of this is in it. So I would love to, before we approve these minutes, have this clarified, making sure that I get a copy stating that we actually had a retreat, and anytime you have a meeting, that meeting has to specify what's going to be discussed, and only within that should be discussed. So we had a retreat, change it to a special meeting. So I would like to, before these amendments are approved, I would love to have copies of that when it was done. I mean, if the retreat was a retreat and had nothing in it about personnel matters closed section, I do need to see that. And when it went from recording this Virginia law, when it went from a retreat to a special meeting, I was never notified. And also, I got a notice on July the 3rd stating what was going to happen. And that was, you have to have your FOIA says 3 work days. So I would like to see that before these minutes are approved.
And the information.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, we posted the notice on the 2 boards outside of the county government building, as well as on social media and the website. But Mr. King, we'll send that to you.
Did it state, when I got my phone call, it said a retreat is what it said.
We'll go back and pull it for you. I'm sorry, Mr.
And
Kane, I
then
don't have it in
somehow
front
it
of
became
me.
a special meeting of closed section personnel matters. So do we have documentation where it's, when we changed it from a retreat to a special meeting of personnel matters, closed section, was that posted also?
The agenda was also posted on the website, which with the closed session was part of that, the meeting that was listed. So we can get you that information as far as the flyer the announcement that was posted.
My question is, when I got the phone call that said a retreat, no one said anything about personnel, discussing personnel matters in a closed section.
Yes, sir. The original phone call, the agenda had not been set. That was just planning the initial
No,
retreat.
you can't do that. When you have a retreat or a special meeting, each board member need to be contacted, and we say yes or no based on what is said in that. You can't just say, I'm gonna do a special meeting, and then decide after we've said we'll agree to a special meeting, and you decide what you're gonna put in it. You can't do that.
And we will get to you the documentation you request. I think, Mr. Chair, and what Mr. Kane would like is that we approve the minutes of the last regular meeting and postpone approving minutes of the special meeting until we get to him the information he's requested.
I move that we approve consent agenda with the exception of special call on board meeting, July 8th and July 9th.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. We'll have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Next, we need a motion to go into a public hearing. SP 2 2025 Virginia Tactical Shooting Academy.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. We have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye.
All right, can y'all hear me? Okay, just making sure it's on. Okay, the applicant, the Virginia Tactical Shooting Academy, is requesting a special use permit to establish a private outdoor shooting range on 2 parcels identified as County Tax Map Parcel 38-2D and Tax Map Parcel 38-2E. The applicant will utilize approximately 2 acres of Parcel 38D2 to construct a range. The shooting area of the range will be approximately 150 feet wide and 300 foot in depth. If you look at attachment A in your packet, you'll see a schematic of the proposed shooting range. When the applicant made his application, he stated a 10-foot tall earthen berm will be constructed to surround the shooting area and serve as a safety backstop to contain projectiles and ricochets. Just today, we received an update from the Virginia Shooting Tactical Academy. I gave y'all a copy. We didn't get it till about 4, but in an update, he wants to increase the berm height to 15 feet versus 10 feet. So I assume Mr. Banks will discuss that when he gets up and talks in a few minutes, but that was submitted today. Shooting benches and sheds will be installed at all firing points. The earthen berms and shooting sheds will help minimize noise impacts on surrounding properties. In the application, the applicant states that the range will only be accessible to Virginia Tactical Shooting Academy members, authorized personnel, and students enrolled in training classes. The range will not be open to the general public. The range will operate during the daylight hours on Fridays from 12 to 4, Saturdays 11 to 4, and Sundays 11 to 3:30. And the correspondence we received today from the Virginia Tactical Shooting Academy, they've modified those dates and times. It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I didn't write it down, I think it's like 10:30 to 3:30. What?
It says 11 to 3:30.
11 to 3:30.
And closed on Sundays.
Closed on Sundays.
No evening or early morning activity.
The applicant also states that a certified range safety officer will be on site at all times to ensure safety procedures are being followed. When we look at the county zoning ordinance, we'll find that the subject property is zoned A1 agricultural. The A1 agricultural district covers the largest portion of the county, which is presently occupied by farms, forests, conservation areas, and other types of rural uses. That it is designated to protect these existing conditions and encourage only that development which promotes the preservation of the rural qualities of the county. The county does not have specific development requirements such as minimum acreage, setbacks from lot lines, setbacks from dwellings for outdoor shooting ranges. However, an outdoor shooting range is an allowable use within the A1 district with the issuance of a special use permit. A special use permit shall not be issued unless it's determined that the proposed use would not be detrimental to the community. A proposal as submitted or modified shall not adversely affect the health, safety, welfare, or persons residing in the neighborhood of the proposed use. Among matters to be considered in this connection are congestion, noise, light, dust, odors, fumes, and vibrations with due regard for the time and other operation, screening, and other matters which might be regulated to mitigate adverse impacts. The county may impose conditions to a special use permit in an effort to mitigate any potential nuisances or impacts. When we look at the comprehensive plan, we find that the subject property is located outside of the urban development area within a rural area on the comp plan's future land use plan. Rural area classification includes land areas in the rural portions of the county where agricultural and forestal uses are the dominant land use. These areas provide ecological benefits such as open spaces and watershed protection while also playing a role as an economic and environmental resource of major importance. Rural regions are generally stable and require a high degree of protection to preserve agricultural, forestal, recreational, and open space areas. All right, when you look at staff's analysis, the actual character of the area matches the comp plan's description as well as the definition of the A1 agricultural district as defined in the zoning ordinance. Being designated as a use requiring a special use permit in the zoning ordinance, and its approved use provided appropriate safeguards were imposed to protect the health and safety and general welfare. Such safeguards are presented as conditions which, if imposed, will govern the proposed use of the property. While this use is not a daily use, it is a use that could produce nuisances such as noise and lead contaminations that could impact surrounding properties. Noise created during the operation of the range will be the nuisance that will be the hardest to mitigate. The construction of safety berms and shooting sheds will mitigate some of the noise that will be produced at the shooting range. However, noise still could be an issue for properties located adjacent and near the shooting range. 4 addresses on Goose Pond Road are approximately 875 to 1,250 feet from the proposed range. The range hours as proposed in the applicant's application for the special use permit will be included to the permit, thus authorizing the times that shooting will occur. And of course, he is changing those, like I said, to not impact Sundays. Lead contamination of soil and water is another concern that should be analyzed when designing and constructing the shooting range. The proposed shooting range is located near wetlands identified by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's National Wetland Inventory Map. A copy of that map is shown in Attachment B. All the wetlands in the area are highlighted in a royal blue color. National Wetlands Inventory is a digitized map developed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services that provides information on the potential location, size, and type of wetlands across the country. By implementing appropriate lead management practices, an outdoor shooting range owners and range operators can reduce the environmental and health risks associated with lead deposition and meet the legal requirements and realize quantifiable benefits. In the application, Mr. Banks stated that the proposed shooting range would implement lead management practices such as ammunition recycling to prevent soil and water contamination. This will be vital in ensuring that there's no contamination of the soils and water and adjacent to proposed shooting range due to very close proximity to the identified wetlands and a neighboring pond. Being that the proposed project will disturb more than 10,000 square feet, The applicant must obtain erosion and sediment control land disturbance permit from Greensville County. The applicant must submit ENS control plans prepared by an engineer who is licensed in the state of Virginia, and they will be sent to the county's third-party reviewer for review. DEQ permit coverage must also be obtained for the proposed project, since the project will disturb more than 1 acre of land. The applicant must submit stormwater management plans prepared by an engineer who is, again, licensed in Virginia, and they must be approved by the county's third-party inspector, and permit coverage must be obtained from DEQ. Staff has, with the Planning Commission at their meeting, voted on a 7-1 vote to deny the applicant's application. That is only a recommendation to you, and in your packet there are 3 samples of resolutions that you can adopt. One is a resolution to approve, which contains all the proposed conditions. Now, some of those conditions we will need to modify, like the increase in the berm height that he suggested, plus the days and hour of operation. There's also a sample resolution if you were to wish to deny or to defer action upon the application.
Before we continue, I think it was some confusion on the sign-up sheets. We want to be sure if you signed up to speak, you signed up for the public hearing, not for citizens' comments. If you signed up for citizens' comments and you want to speak in this matter, please be sure you sign the proper sheet back there.
Time we usually let the applicant give his presentation. Mr. Banks.
All right. Good evening, everybody. All right. I'll try to make this brief. My name is Sean Banks. I'm the owner and founder and CEO of the Tactical Shooting Academy. I'm just here to present my revised compliant plan for the special use permit. I just wanted to go through a few things that we addressed and kind of revised based on public comment. The first thing that I did want to mention and talk about was our operational plan. Based on the feedback that we had gotten Sunday, so I wanted to provide a revised plan to not shoot outside on Sunday. So we revised it to shooting on Thursdays through Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Midday hours. So generally speaking, while people are at work, I can conduct classes. Other members are able to shoot during that time and that time only. Once again, I just wanted to be able to reiterate that it's not a public shooting range. Private, mainly for classes, members, certified instructors using that time. I did also want to be able to address the berms and baffles. I won't assume that everybody understands what berms and baffles are, but generally speaking, earth berms are raised walls or mounds of dirt to be able to construct a backstop at the end and around ranges to be able to keep any projectiles from exiting the range. Also, berms are utilized for additional safety concerns. Now, baffles also compiled with berms or earth berms. Baffles are installed usually at 3 points: the entrance of them or at the shooting line, okay, midway downrange, and then also at the end of the range. Baffles are designed just in case there are any errant rounds. Those baffles are to contain the projectiles, so no errant rounds are to leave the range as well. And then baffles additionally are used as sound mitigating options to reduce any noise pollution that would arise. And then Also, and the last thing, the shooting sheds themselves, right? Being able to utilize those shooting sheds to be able to shoot underneath of them, which all of those are coated and sound protected to also further diminish sound or everything that we have designed are, I would say, going above and beyond general recommended tasks based on the NRA's, page or source book. I am an NRA instructor as well. They usually recommend anywhere between 8 and 10 foot berms with a 1x1 sloped area. Also with the EPA's guidelines or recommended guidelines is anywhere between 10 and 12 foot. And then lastly, or typical outdoor shooting range used for law enforcement is anywhere from 10 and 13 foot berms. And so we wanted to be able to go above and beyond that and say we'll do 15-foot berms just to have an extra level of safety and, and sound mitigation options. So we wanted to address that. And then the last thing that I did based on public concerns about traffic. So based on, I would say, Mike Bailey, who has been my traffic engineer, he's also registered and certified with Virginia State. There's anywhere between 120, 130 cars that frequent low ground road. That's the main highway. And generally speaking, our added members, which right now we only have about, 26, well, a little bit less now, 26 members of the Shoot Academy itself. That would not be adding any significant traffic to the area. So I did want to address those things. As far as the range construction is concerned, so based on the GIS and the numbers, based on, didn't walk the property, but visible and shooting azimuths. The closest home, which actually is to the area, is the property owners, and that's roughly about 1,100 feet away, then followed by the next closest home is about 1,216. The closest church is around 3,426 feet away from the shooting line. The entire range or the properties itself are encompassed by trees and foliage and whatnot, which will also help with sound mitigation and airing rounds and things like that, if that was ever a potential. The last thing that I did just want to be able to mention is negligent impact, right, as it pertains to, if I'm not mistaken, you said 4 houses, generally speaking, within that particular area, or immediately near the shooting range itself. Two of which are the property owners in which I'm talking about. But I wanted to be able to emphasize, outside of, the isolated incidences where, people like me being out there, I've taken, the advice of, not only consultants, but my legal and my legal counsel, and as far as my my consultants go with this plan, to try my best to generate a plan that was going to be able to work for everybody and try not to be call it, and be compliant and legal in the process. But that's generally all that I have right now, and I just wanted to address some of the revisions.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Before we open it up, can we get Mr.
Yes, sir, I would like to
Protocol?
remind the public that the board's policy is to afford each speaker 3 minutes. There's a clock behind me. If you're speaking, keep an eye on that. Winding down, when the clock runs out, we would ask that you please stop your remarks.
Mr. Chair, the first person on the list is Curtis Gillum. And when you come up, if you'll please make sure you state your name for us as well as your address for our records. Thank you.
I'm Curtis Gillum, 467 Horseshoe Road in Jarrett, Virginia. Several years ago, my wife and I were visiting her family at 6034 Grind Road in Emporia, and the house was shot into by a stray bullet from a person practicing his assault rifle 1.5 miles away. According to the sheriff's office, he had proper berms and boundaries, but the bullet still strayed. It barely missed my wife as it came into the house. My sister-in-law that lives there, she's been traumatized by this ordeal. Every time you hear a gunshot during hunting season or somebody just target practicing, she calls me up, somebody's shooting in the house, somebody's shooting in the house. So I have to go down, calm her down, tell her nobody's shooting in the house at you. Thing. If this is approved, the lady will probably be traumatized where she has to go to the hospital. And I would like somebody to say, y'all gonna help pay the bills. She can't afford it. Technical company coming in, are they gonna pay the bills? Probably not. I get phone calls from her, somebody's shooting, somebody's shooting. Board members willing to give me your cell phone numbers where she can call y'all every time this happens? Because if they're going to be doing it 3 days a week, 4 or 5 hours a day, she'll go crazy.
Keisha Peebles.
My name is Keisha Peebles, 142 Goose Pond Road. I just want to take the time to say I did not get to come to the other meeting, but I live pretty close enough, and I'm going to speak from my household where my husband is at work right now, 12-hour shift. So when you say the hours that this range is still going to occur, whether it's not Sunday or whatever days it is, he's sleeping today. And I have a 13-year-old son that when he heard it, the days that it already has occurred, he was like, what in the world? I will say to you, I am a retiree from Greensville Correctional Center, as well as my husband. My husband is a retiree from the military. I served 14 years. When I heard it, I woke up thinking, am I in joint endeavor again? What's going on? I was trying to figure, is that a launcher? What is that? And then when I started questioning and asking about it, I learned what was going on. So I say all this to say my husband is also a hunter. Also, I love the guns. But would I have moved here 2017 with my husband where he's from here, knowing that a range was here? No, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't move anywhere near the prison. I wouldn't move anywhere near any of the military bases I've served at and I had to shoot on. So I love this again, but I feel in our residence where we came to find a home to settle in and retire, which both of us are, but he still works to provide and to do the things we want to do. I wouldn't want it where I live. And I do not wish it on anybody that's any closer than I am. And like I said, we heard it very well. We felt it in our home, and we heard it. And I speak for my neighbor that is out of town today. She's just moving here, her and her husband from PA, from Pennsylvania, and they hate it. And they have animals, and she said the animals were going crazy. They was like, what in the world's going on? But I thank you for your time.
Sterling Elliott.
I am Sterling Elliott. I live at 2006 Rolling Acres Road, Skippers. We own the farm directly in the firing range of this range they want to build. I've been down there hunting, and back in December the 4th, they were shooting, and I left on account of all the gunfire on that day. I have 2 hunting blinds down there that are 14 feet tall. His berm's not giving me much coverage from any shooting that they do. And from his videos I've seen, they're using automatic weapons, high-powered rifles, and they are long range. And this range, as far as I'm concerned, is going to devalue my property because when it comes time for me to cut timber, the timber company might not even want to come in here when they know it's a gun range close by. I just don't see anything good coming from this range. The noise, the hunting won't be the same, the environment won't be the same after you get a gun range in there. And they said 4 hours a day. I don't see people coming a long way just for 4 hours a day. Thank you for your time.
Janice Elliott.
Janice Elliott, 2006 Rolling Acres Road, Emporia, Virginia. My parents bought that farm in the 1950s, so we've had it for a long, long time. And we tried to maintain it as a farm. With this shooting range next to it, and as my husband said, they're shooting directly straight into that farm. I don't feel like it's safe for anyone to be down there. The people that farm that land, they'll be up in equipment that's a 15-foot berm will not stop a bullet, particularly if it's these military-style weapons, which public record of all the videos, if you look at that, it's not just 6 or 7 people coming, as the application said. It's hundreds of people coming. It's set back from the road to give them more road frontage where more people can actually park. So that means it's that much closer to our farm. And I just don't feel like it's safe for anyone. I do have empathy for the people that have to listen to it, because you come to the country for peace and serenity and to have an enjoyable life, not to have to listen to something like a war going on around you. There's a time and a place for everything, and this is not the time and it's not the place for this gun range. Thank you.
William Porch.
I'm Commander William Porch, United States Navy retired. I reside at 10642 Low Ground Road. I spoke at the zoning committee meeting about, what was it, in June, and I understand they recommended against this. I do understand that this is a revised plan, but that's not that much revision except for one day it is going to be active. I would ask the members of the board, especially my representative, Ms. Astrop, to consider that you were elected by the residents of this county. You should do everything that's in their best interest. I would also remind you that you are free to make choices, but you cannot be free of the consequences of your choices. And there is an election coming. Thank you.
Elizabeth Porch. Charlie Robinson.
My name is Charlie Robinson. I'm at 4259 Purdy Road, and I'm talking in regards for Claresville Baptist Church. Our church been there for over 150, 160 years. Don't know exactly, but and we down in Claresville, it's a tight knit community, and just because they don't revise it and not going to have the shooting range on Sundays, people, if we was living next door to it, one person just in the community that affected is enough for the Greensville County, You supposed to be representing Greensville County, not some special interest, somebody out of the county to come back down here to please them. You know what I'm saying? We represent you. We paying your taxes. You know what I'm saying? Your income for this, you getting something. I don't know what you're getting, but you're getting something. You know what I'm saying? And then we asking you to represent us, not nobody else from out of the town. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't 100% against this, and I just don't see the issue of just keeping on going on. I know you got to go through the process, but I would be some kind of surprise if this went through. Yes, I would. Thank you for your time.
Charlie Grigg.
Good afternoon, supervisors and staff. Thank you for having me tonight. I live at 800 Goose Pond Road, 1,400 feet from the shooting range. Listening to him tonight, we were talking, he says 26 members. Well, the website says there are 688 members, 1,200 users. Certain members reading their website, if you're a certain member and you give a certain amount of money, you can bring 2 extra guests. I witnessed last year the days they shot, and I don't know how many it was. It was 7, 8, 9 days. One day they had food trucks, they had hundreds of people there. I had probably 30 people drive through my yard to ask where the shooting range was. It was the first I knew about it. Most of them had Maryland license plates. I've never seen any of them before. And they have these days, so he's advertising to y'all that he's gonna have 4 to 7 users at the shooting range a couple days a week. Well, every time he came last year, I personally went over there one day, and 37 people there that day. I went over and spoke to him, and he came back over to my house and talked to me afterwards about it. And I voiced my concerns, and he voiced his wishes and that. But the noise pollution is. Y'all seen the videos, and you can't deny it. You can hear a bullet being shot a mile away. I'm 1,400 feet. The only thing between me and them is a pond. And the problems I have is, we don't have county water where I live. My daughter's getting ready to move down there. My son moving down there, building a house. We rely on well water. Lead contaminates wells. The dust from the lead. I mean, they shot, and I'd be scared to even say, but tens of thousands of rounds were shot there last year with 0 berms that are there in trees, my trees, their trees, his trees, everybody's trees. As he said, first time I take a log to the sawmill and they find lead in it, they're gonna reject the rest of my wood. So my wood at that point is worthless. I don't know if all of y'all know, but we have a shooting range at the Armory. At the Armory, built in 1999. They never opened it up because of the environmental issues. They have ventilation. They were worried about the airborne dust coming from it with the surrounding houses there causing that. They have nothing to contain the airborne dust. They have nothing really to contain it. It's surrounded on 3 sides by very sensitive wetlands. That's the beginning of the Great Dismal Swamp, and it's surrounded by that. And I strongly encourage y'all to please, 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 something we don't need in Greensville County. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Patrick Brown.
Patrick Brown, 111 Moores Lane. We're building a house. We're probably about 1,500 yards from the gun range. I'm going to just share a story. When my kids' grandfathers lived down the street right near the gun range, my 2 daughters, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, out in the yard playing, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and it was just guns going off like you thought it was World War III. My 2 girls, scared to death, we walked inside, we came inside, we sat in the house the rest of the day. We had to sit inside all day. It was just the noise and the constant shooting. We waited till the next day, Sunday morning, got back up, and it was the same thing again the next day. Just shooting constantly, semi-automatic guns. I mean, it's just all day long. It's just a nuisance and just terrible. None of y'all would want to have this near your house. I'm not against a shooting range. I think a shooting range is a great place for young people to learn safety and practice, and that's great for anybody. But there's a place for it. So I've printed out a screenshot, and this is a outdoor shooting range that I have actively been to, and I've visited multiple times. Outside of a 4 square miles, there's not a house near it. And I'll drop it off with you. You can see it. I think this is well built, and this is designed right. That it's just not going to be any nuisance to anybody. You're not going to get a spray bullet. No safety concerns. I think this is a great model of what an outdoor shooting range should be. So we're not against a shooting range in general, but just not in our backyard, not in our neighborhood, not with my kids. We have 4 or 5 kids in one house down the street. Ms. Peebles has children at her house. So there are a lot of children around in the projected area.
Elizabeth Brown.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Brown. I currently am staying with my parents at 800 Goose Pond Road while our house is being finished at 111 Moores Lane, right across the street from the proposed site. We're moving to Greensville County to enjoy time with our 2 small children. As 2 full-time working parents, this is our time with our children. This is our time. The weekends are our time. On Sundays, that's great that they're not doing it on Sunday. We spend Sunday morning at church. The majority of our day at Sunday is gone at church. So we really, this is our only time at home with our kids, to enjoy time outside. That's why we're moving here. We want to hang out outside with our kids on the land. This will very much disrupt our time outdoors. The zoning ordinance states the following about special use permits. The use shall not be operated to cause a nuisance to the neighborhood in which it is located. This will definitely cause a nuisance to our family. Just as far as some EPA concerns, the EPA best management practice cites the NRA range source book, which has been talked about today, and I looked it up again while I was here. What I could find is that it states a 20-foot minimum for an earthen berm. It also says that an earthen backstop is generally between 15 and 20 with a slope as steep as possible. So this is already the minimum of what they're expecting. They've also been doing this with none of these safety measures in place. That's a huge concern for me and my family and my kids. Where does the line draw? It's already, clearly safety is not the most important thing here. There's also some quotes directly from the best management practices for the outdoor shooting ranges from the EPA. To date, most litigation concerns have been at shotgun ranges where the shotfall zone impacts water or wetland areas. The potential environmental and human health risks are greater at these ranges. In bold, it says shooting into water bodies or wetlands should not occur. And then it says shooting into water bodies or wetlands is not, in all caps, an option for ranges that want to survive in the future. How many people here are in favor, have you heard of, that are in favor of this gun range and all of the things that have been signed? How many are from Greensville County? Please, I urge you to please weigh heavily the concerns of the Greensville County residents, which officially, as of yesterday, I am. They have put their trust into you, and I look forward to putting my trust into you, and I really hope that you do what's best for Greensville County. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Fassel Daniels.
Fassel Daniels. I reside at 703 Parham Street in the heart of Emporia. I have concerns for 6279 Low Ground Road. Claresville Baptist Church, P.O. Box 288, Low Ground Road, August the 4th, 2025. To whom it may concern, I'm writing to express my strong opposition to the proposed establishment of a shooting range in close proximity to Claresville Baptist Church located at 6279 Low Ground Road. While I understand and respect the rights of the individuals to engage in lawful recreational activities, I believe that placing a shooting range near a house of worship raises serious concerns, safety, peace, and spiritual well-being, and surrounding community houses. Churches serve as sanctuaries for reflection, worship, and fellowship. The presence of a shooting range nearby where loud gunfire will be a regular occurrence would severely disrupt environment. It risks disturbing worship services, prayer meetings, funerals, weddings, and community outreach events. The sound of gunfire can be deeply unsettling, especially for children, elderly members, and individuals dealing with trauma. We have services outside at our facility any given time. Moreover, safety is a paramount concern. The possibility of stray bullets or accidents, however rare, cannot be entirely dismissed. Families and community members deserve to feel secure when they attend services or participate in church-related activities. There are undoubtedly more appropriate locations for such a facility. Areas that are not adjacent to places of worship, schools, or residential neighborhoods. A responsible and thoughtful site selection process should be prioritized, minimizing community disruption and risk. I urge you to reconsider the placement of this shooting range and seek alternative locations that do not infringe upon the peace and purpose of sacred community spaces. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Clarksville Baptist Church, Claude D. Roberts, Pastor, Trustee Charlie Robinson. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if we may just go through the citizens' comments list just to make sure they did not sign the incorrect list. Charles White, if you want to remain on for citizens' comments, you don't have to come up, but if you're coming up to speak for the public hearing, please come up when I call your name. Audrey Coleman.
My name is Audrey Coleman. I live at 490 Goose Pond Road. I think the 1,100 yards from the shooting range. I don't see where there is a problem with that. I think it's a good idea that he's teaching shooting tactics to people, as well as far as you're speaking of traffic. I don't think it's no more than when hunting season come in, there's 50, 60 trucks up and down the road more than one time. I don't see a problem with that. I don't complain about it. So as far as him having people coming, I doubt very seriously if it would be 600 people coming at one time. And if they do come, they're coming past my house. They're not going past the other neighbor's house, maybe the people's house, but not anybody else's house. I haven't had a problem with that. And as far as the shooting, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've heard shooting, but as far as the outrageous sounds, I haven't heard that, because a lot of time when he's there or when he has been there, I have not been home. He would call me to see if I'm at home, but most of the time I'm not at home. But I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a good thing. What he's trying to do is to teach classes for shooting, and there's a lot of people that wants to know that don't know. I think that's a good idea that he's doing that.
Terrence Washington. Okay, thank you. Claude Roberts. Mr. Chair, that concludes those who have signed up.
Can we get a motion to return into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Can we get a roll call?
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Next, we need actions resulting from the public hearing. Motion.
I would like to make a statement before we proceed. I live in Greensville County because I'm an elected official. I woke up one morning and all I could hear was guns going off. I didn't realize it. About 3/10 of a mile from where I live at is a shooting range. I checked to verify to make sure that it was legal. I did find out it was legal. And I also want to say this. When we talk about the shooting range, my research says there's very, very few or any incidents from a shooting range. Last year, we had over 100 people to get killed from hunting incidents. So we were worried about guns, a gun going off, whether I'm hunting or shooting at a shooting range. We're concerned about lead. Lead coming from a gun when you're hunting is just as dangerous when coming from the shooting range. So my research gave me this. If you're looking at the decimal, which in the state of Virginia, it states that a decimal can be 70 decimals or less. If I take my math, and the first thing I saw was 875 feet. And when I realized it was 875 feet, and I looked at the type of guns that were being shot, and I looked at what was there. Now, I actually did ride down, and between the last house on the very end, there's a dead-end road, and coming back to the shooting range, I did drive through there, and the thing that I saw down there was trees. I didn't see anything else but trees. That's all I saw. It was about 3/10 of a mile away. So if I was to take that and use my math, if I had a lawnmower, which I spent most of my afternoon cutting grass, it's 75 to 100 decimals. So if y'all live in a neighborhood and somebody's cutting grass, you will have a much more louder sound coming from that lawnmower that you ever will coming from that shooting range, because what the shooting range has is this, is when you reduce it down to those trees based on the 0.3 miles away, you're going to end up with about 80 decimals, and then the barrier, the tree is going to take it down to 10, and then that barrier is going to take it down 10. So you're probably looking at about 60 decimals is what you're looking at, about the sound of what you listen to in your house, listen to your TV. Now, I did get some phone calls, and I do remember phone calls coming in, and I did relate to Mr. Pope. I talked to Mr. Banks in the month of November, and he said that nobody is at that shooting range, that they are the illegal. So all that y'all heard in December, you must have heard it from somebody down there that was illegal. And I told Mr. Pope, at the very time somebody else called you, tell them call the police. Because if they're there, they are illegally there. Thank you.
Pleasure of the board. Is there a motion? Action, no motion. There's no action, no motion.
Carter Russell for that.
I'm sorry. Do I understand the board is not going to act?
Yes. There's no motion.
There's a 5-minute, in case somebody decides, you have to wait 5 minutes before you can say it's dead. If there's no motion made at all, there's a 5-minute wait period. So we do have a 5 minutes, but somebody can change their mind and decide they want to approve of this.
My time is about 2 more minutes. One more minute.
I would like to make the recommendation of approval of the application with written reason for the decision, and trying to find what you had written up here.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I add one thing, Mr. Chairman. If somebody, well, Mr. Kane has made a motion for approval with the recommendations and
It's
staff.
set forth, yeah.
Make sure we amend the staff report to reflect the new hours of operation, the new days they will be operating, and in the original application, he did not mention baffles. We need to put the baffle language in the condition.
And we have a motion. Is there a second? Technically, don't not have to have a second. Not have to have a second. So we'll call for a roll call vote.
Supervisor Astrop,
Even though I think this is something that our community needs, I think that overabundance of the community has spoken and they don't want it, so I would have to support, not support the project at the current location. I want to see it come forth, but just not at the current location. No.
Supervisor Brown,
No.
Supervisor Kane,
Yes.
Conwell.
Well, thank you all for being here, not supporting and speaking for or against this. Moving on, and next items are items with appointments, road matters. Anyone here from VDOT?
Nobody from VDOT's here tonight, no.
Next, we'll have citizens' comments.
Charles White.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles White. I live at 239 Sleggy Lake Road. I'm here tonight to talk about three items. I'd like to talk about the grass on the sidewalk that extends from Crescent Road back to the school. You know, it's really an abomination to look at it, and the trash that's being thrown out there because it's not maintained. And I talked to my supervisor, Mr. Kane, and he tells me that the state only cuts that grass twice. Well, I'm sure the state didn't give you the grant to put that sidewalk in for them to maintain it. So I would like to ask to see requests that you all made to the state for that grant. Also, I would like to talk about the bus that runs up and down Greensville Emporia. I rode the bus from here to its complete loop. When I got back here, I started to pay another $1 because I had not made some notes. The driver said, no, you can't do that. You have to get off and have to make another trip. Then you can get back on. Doesn't sound right. I would also like to talk about the bus does not go to Reed Street. They're part of Greensville Emporia also. Now, I would like to talk to someone that can give me some definitive answers, because some of these things, if I don't get a good answer, I'm going to request them under the Freedom of Information Act. then you're going to have to act. That's not a threat, that's a promise. Gentlemen, I thank you for your attention. I hope we can work this thing out. Thank you.
Right.
Terrence Washington.
Good afternoon, everyone, to the board. My name is Terrence Washington. I'm the founder of the We Got Your Back community team out in Emporia, Greensville, which our mission is to empower our youth to lead the next generation. And our motto is boots on the ground. I come before the board today to thank you guys for all the support that you gave us for the United Back to School event. The United Back to School tailgate. It was an awesome event. And I think we had maybe 4 different counties to come out. But before I acknowledge you guys, we got some guests in the audience also that supported. Chef Jared and his team always support the events that we do. Thank you guys so much. Madison just left. Him and Chief Rollins always support. Mr. Slate, Miss Gia Slate, those guys supported the event. I'd like to thank everybody for their support. We actually have a plaque for you guys because without you guys' help and support, the mission would not been a big success. So I'm gonna let Ms. Kane, will you please read the award we got for you guys?
Okay, it reads, special recognition presented to Greensville County Board of Supervisors. Thank you for all your support to assist with our 2025 United Back to School tailgate. Your support for our youth and community is greatly appreciated. We got your back, community team.
Mr. Washington, thank you to you and your organization that continue to do great by the youth and children of our community. If you all didn't have an opportunity at the back to school tailgate event, they had horseback riding, they had the, excuse me? Oh yeah, they had the bowling truck was out there. They fed the kids. They gave all the kids back to school backpacks. The National Guard was out there with all of their equipment, and it was a great event for the community and the children to really enjoy. I think the hit of the day were the horseback rides. So the kids really enjoyed the horseback riding. So thank you to you and your team for all you all do continually in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. We really appreciate it.
Claude Roberts.
Next item is old business, the Golden Leaf Commons event venue facility use policy.
Chair Conwell and board members. In your packet, staff included a follow-up from our last month's meeting in reference to the insurance and a few of the other items that were brought to your attention as it relates to the Golden Leaf Commons and our policy update. I highlighted in the presentation to you all those things that we got clarification on as it related to some of the things that you brought to our attention in reference to the policy. As a follow-up to that, we would also propose that if there are changes to be made to the policy, if you guys go ahead and approve or disapprove this evening, we would like them to take effect as of October 1 so that we can have time to allow for the renters who are already on the calendar going forward.
Thank you for the changes you made. I do have one question just for clarification. The rent for the community room, Is that separate, or is that in conjunction with rental of the Golden Leaf?
It's separate.
Have to have people here?
Right. Not setups, because remember, we're taking setups out.
Right, okay. Have to have staff on site. Policy is presented.
I move that we approve the use policy as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. We can have a roll call vote.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Next, we move into new business. And first on our list is a proclamation in recognition of Jackson Field. Is it anyone here? I'd like to read this proclamation first. Proclamation of appreciation and esteem honoring the 170th anniversary of Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services. Whereas Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services was established in 1855, having been chartered by the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Virginia to serve orphan children, has since developed into a leading provider of residential psychiatric treatment for children. Whereas Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services has consistently provided high-quality residential psychiatric services to children and adolescents living with mental illness and substance use disorders. Whereas Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services has transformed the lives of thousands of children, equipping them with the tools to manage their mental health and achieve lasting wellness. And whereas Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services is recognized as a national leader in the field of children's mental health, incorporating best practices and evidence-based treatment interventions, programs and services, and whereas Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services continues to serve as a beacon of hope and innovation, inspiring the advancement of new and emerging practices in the treatment of children's mental health. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors hereby adopts this proclamation of respect, appreciation, and esteem in recognition of Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services on the occasion of its 170th anniversary, and be it further resolved that the proclamation be entered into the official minutes of the board, and a copy be presented Jackson Field Behavioral Health Services to be displayed in honor of its long-standing service and enduring. Next item on the agenda is a resolution 26-9 Tobacco Southern Virginia Program Characterization of New Sites. That's a mouthful, Ms. Slate.
Good evening. With the announcement of Carolina Structural Systems in our industrial park, Greensville County now only has control of one industrial site of about 50 acres. Additional sites need to be located and studied to determine the best way to bring them to market ready in order for us to be successful in economic development. We have contracted with a consulting group to identify the top 5 sites in Greensville County for development. The next step is to do a characterization study of those sites, which will dwell down into where the utilities are, how to get them to the site, what other aspects need to be brought in to make that site marketable for economic development. The staff would like approval of Resolution 26-9, allowing staff to apply to the Virginia Tobacco Commission for $25,000 to do this study. Staff intends to also apply to Virginia Economic Development Partnership for the matching $25,000. So it's a $50,000 project, and it's staff's intention to not come out of pocket for this portion.
Questions? Not, is there a motion?
I move we approve Resolution 26-9.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. We have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Thank you, Ms. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2610, Memorandum of Agreement with Commonwealth of Virginia Department of Health.
Okay, I've got that. After several years of some members of the board and staff visiting our legislatures in Richmond, trying to get funding for the Liberty Road project, we were finally successful this year in getting $1.2 million. Now, the $1.2 million will not take care of the whole project. It'll pay for the engineering design, all the engineering work, and a portion of the property acquisition. These funds must be spent by June 30th of 2026. The money does not roll over into another fiscal year. We've already got the engineer on board at next month, or if you have a special meeting between that next month, I'll have the contract for the engineer so he can start the engineering design of the project. So staff recommends that you approve this agreement with the Department of Health so we can get the project.
Questions for Mr. Pope? Not, is there a motion?
I move we approve Resolution 26-10.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. We'll have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Next is Resolution 26-11, accepting the formal bankruptcy plan.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, some time ago, the county opted to participate in class action suits against a number of manufacturers and distributors of opioids. That is a nationwide class action suit. The county voted to be a part of it. The county is represented by 3 separate law firms in this action, and now we've reached a point where the settlements are starting to come forward. I would point out, if the board follows the recommendations of its attorneys and approves the settlement, then there'll be financial benefit to the county. If the county rejects it, then there will be no financial benefit from the settlement. Unlikely. The first of the 2 resolutions is Purdue Farmers. It sounds like a tremendous amount of money because it is. They've agreed to pay $6.5 billion in settlement. I would point out that that money is divided among the 50 states first, and then among the localities within each state. While there are tens of thousands of dollars that will come to the county, under this settlement, it would also be paid in over a period of 15 years. So the financial impact will not be tremendous in any of these years, but there will be some income stream generated from the settlement if approved by the board. Staff recommends approval.
I move that we approve Resolution 26-11.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. We'll have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. Next is Resolution 26.
Yes, sir. The comments really would be the same. This is more than one defendant together in the settlement. The amount of money is much less, $720 million versus the $6.5 billion. And again, the settlement funds are divided among all the states and within the states among all financial impact on the county will not be great, but there will be a stream of income that results from the settlement. Based on all that, it's a staff's recommendation that the resolution be adopted and the settlement be entered into.
I move that we approve Resolution 26-12.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. We have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye. No other business. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. We have a roll call.
Supervisor Astrop.
Aye.
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Chair Conwell.
Aye.
Can I get a motion that we go into regular session for our Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority?
Second.
It's been moved and second that we go into order for water and sewer. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane. Supervisor Conwell.
Aye.
Chair Astrop.
Aye. At this time, can I get approval of the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve agenda. All those in favor with a roll call vote?
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Supervisor Conwell.
Aye.
Chair Astrop.
Aye. At this time, if I can get approval of the consent agenda to include the approval of minutes, warrants.
Approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve consent agenda as presented. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Supervisor Brown.
Aye.
Supervisor Kane.
Aye.
Supervisor Conwell.
Aye.
Chair Astrop.
Aye. There are no items with appointments. There is no old business. New business, Resolution WS 25-5, approval of procurement of contractor for Town of Jarrett Road repairs. Good evening.
Sanders, I'm the Assistant Director of the Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority. This resolution seeks the approval of procurement of the contract for Jarrett Street repairs. As a result of repairs on water main breaks by the authority in the town of Jarrett, four locations on public roads were left needing repaving. In May of '25, the authority was contacted by the mayor of the town of Jarrett, Brandon Rollins, because he had received several complaints concerning the four locations, and they were described as creating road hazards and need to be repaired and repaved. The affected areas were located directly in front of the post office on Jarrett Avenue, across the street from the fire department on Jarrett Avenue, on Lincoln Street, and on South Braxton, directly in front of the Jarrett Town Hall. All of these areas receive heavy public traffic, must be utilized by the general public, including the elderly and those with disabilities. The authority immediately solicited estimates from 5 contractors. Of the 5 solicited, only 3 contractors submitted proposals. The estimates range from $10,250 to well over $22,000. Money that would be taken to pay for the repairs would be taken from the fund balance of the authority. The authority at this time would, of course, recommend that we accept the bid of REMAC, which is has a good reputation and an established company. And after reviewing the estimates, we recommend that we award the contract to REMAC for the bid of $10,250. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy.
Move we approve Resolution WS 25-5 as presented.
Second.
It's moved and second that we approve Resolution WS 25-5. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, Resolution WS 25-6, water and wastewater chemical supplier bids and contract awards.
Board members, Resolution 25-6, WS 25-6, seeks approval of the procurement process and the recommended water and wastewater treatment facilities, the chemical supply contract awards for fiscal year 2026. In June of '25, the authority began advertising and solicited sealed bids for chemical contracts. All bids were due by 2 p.m. July 23, 2025. When received, these bids were stored in a secure location by the county mail clerk. Bid opening was conducted on July 23, 2025 at 2 p.m. by 4 county officials, including myself, the interim county administrator, Gary Cyphers, Lynn Pope, and one of my staff. All the bids were opened in public, read aloud, recorded, and analyzed to determine the lowest bidder for each chemical contract. There was only one discrepancy during the process. Univar Solutions and Control Equipment Company both solicited or submitted bids for bacterial blocks and selling weights and units other than the 3-pound blocks requested by the invitation to bid. The successful bidder, Univar, was determined by the 2 bidders submitting the price of the product offered per pound. You have that documentation attached to your packet. The authority recommends that the board accept each of the low bids and authorize the execution of the contract by either the director of the authority or the assistant director for the period listed above. Questions, I entertain them now.
I move we approve Resolution WS 25-6 for the water and wastewater chemical supplier bids and contract awards.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve Resolution WS 25-6. All those in favor with the roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Now, going on to Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority, fiscal year 26 budget calendar.
Chair Astrop, attachment E in your agenda packet is the FY 2026 Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority budget calendar. As you all are aware, this is on a different fiscal year than the regular county budget. The new fiscal year will start on October the 1st and run through September the 30th of 2026. Before you have the dates and times that have been proposed, this process starts even before we finish the regular county budget. So you'll see we have our first regular meeting of the proposed budget presentation on August the 26th at 2 p.m. You all have any questions in regard to the calendar?
I make a motion we adopt the budget calendar as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt budget calendar as presented. All those in favor with the roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. There being no other business, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second that we adjourn. All those in favor with the roll call vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you all for coming.